And we're back with Going Corn, episode number, I don't know, in season 4. It's been it seems like a long week since wiffle ball's been played. But I'm back with my co-host, as always, Troll Nation, Caleb Youngman.
Yeah, something like that. When you played on Monday, yeah, it felt weird. Like, we played Monday, and now I'm kind of like, been waiting almost, 9 days
Want to speak up a little bit for the people?
Can they not hear me well? Okay. It's been 9 days since we've played, so I'm kind of like, yeah, let's get wiffle ball going back, and we'll have everybody there, so it'll feel like real Leroy tomorrow.
Yeah. But crazy week again in Leroy last week. Some bullshit from the commissioner, some normal stuff like that. Some big shakeups in rosters after the first week of roster moves being available.
He kind of got what was coming to him, though, back in retribution.
Well, he stole money from the league with his stupid picks things. And now he got his best player taken, and he's taking it out on everyone. So
we'll get into
it. So we're gonna, of course, recap the games from last week. It was a low-scoring week, except for one series on Monday. The Port County Porkers, I always do that. I tell you, we need a counter on this of how many times I say
you do it. You're just focused on the pork.
The pork. It's about the beef. All right. So the Porkers won against the Sliders 3-2 in the first game, and then 1-0 in 8 innings in the second game. That 8-inning game was done about an hour and a half before the Narhwals game was done. And then the matchup of the week, I would say, in most people's mind, the Badgers and the Liners, the brother v. brother. It got heated from what I hear.
But a big split. People who haven't been around the Youngman rivalry, that was a modest conversation compared to
that's a normal
to some of the bouts that we've had. So
Badgers win 3-2 in the first game and 2-0 Liners in the second game. Again, seems like some good defense. Wind was blowing in on that field, correct?
It was crosswind, so it was favorable for. But Sheriff found the wind to die down for one nice swing. Ryan pitched really well, so it went how I expected it to.
That's a big split for the Liners.
It's a huge split for the Liners.
So both teams now 3-1. Sliders are 0-4, and the Porkers are 3-1 also. And then the Narhwals Melonhead series. Narhwals win game 1 on Fenway, blowing out 11-9, and then the disaster piece that was the second game. It just came down to the wind was blowing out. We were all kind of at the end there, especially wanting to get home, but we just were throwing strikes, and you couldn't see anything, so you just were kind of. The ball was hitting the field. You're probably going to get a hit. So
those are just the kind of series where you just really say fuck it to your ERA at that point and just see how high.
Yeah, Mills and Kyle were kind of the unbenefactory.
Rumor mill swirling on Cedar Lake on the boat on Saturday that there's some discourse between the Narhwals ace and ownership, but
that's not true at all.
But we'll see.
Never be better.
Okay.
So
maybe
Narhwals
distrust in the arm ability.
And then Melonheads win the second game 20-12.
Lord.
So some good series there. The Narhwals 2-2, Melonheads end up 1-3 now.
Okay.
And then we move on to Wednesday. Why don't you give us started with some of these matchups?
Yeah, the Riot Flamingos matchup. How embarrassing for the Riot. 16
they almost lose these games
to the Flamingos, and they did that with their
Micah. If Micah wasn't on that team, the Flamingos probably.
Well, and if they don't have Matt,
yeah.
I mean, Matt carried their.
Oh, for Riot. Oh, yeah, for sure.
So.
Well, he almost gave up the runs. He was the problem. His pitching is just not that great, but the hitting is solid.
Yeah. The Riot maybe, what are they, 4-0?
Yep.
But that's going to be short-lived coming into week 3. The Barnstormers cleaned house against the Tacos. They're just really bad, so there's no other way to say it. The Tacos are an awful team.
Hornitos?
Is that Hornitos? Is
Hornados?
that
Horchata?
Carnitas. I don't know, but they're a bad team right now, and Tyler.
He desperately needs reinforcements.
Tyler just needs.
He took we'll talk about that here in a minute, but
and then Sluggers
sweep the Maniacs,
which I'm not surprised by. The wind was blowing in, so that made it difficult for Kevin.
Brett did not pitch well again. I think he gave up the runs in the first game that
the problem is Brett isn't in I care about wiffle ball mode yet, and that was clearly obvious. So he was throwing like 50% of his ability.
Mm-hmm.
So
he always is kind of a slow starter though too, I feel like.
Well, again, he doesn't care at the beginning of the year. So the boats just now come out onto the water, so that's where his priorities are lying currently.
But a close second game though, 1-0. I mean, they barely squeaked out that game.
Yeah.
So
it was just Minute Maid has been a tough place to play. I'm hoping that the wind shifts for tomorrow's series. So
then the Barnstormers are 4-0, Tacos 0-4, Flamingos 0-4, Riot 4-0, and then Sluggers are 3-1, and Maniacs are now 1-3. Yes, they split with the Porkers week 1, so they're 1-3. So now let's kind of get on to some of the shakeups. Whew, man.
I just need to get into Facebook so that I can.
So I'll kind of start it off. So this was the first week that owners could pick up players from Kermit's or new players that had played 4 games. So it was a very hectic waiver wire. It always is the week 1 because those teams that are struggling, they look for those new things to pick up. Teams that have kind of not, I don't want to say dead weight, but in the Porkers case, that kind of was the issue. They're picking up these players now and dropping off like some of these other things off the roster to help improve. So, who was the top of the waiver wire again? It was
Kevin. The Maniacs were.
Yeah. So it was Kevin was the first one, and he didn't do anything there the first round.
Correct, and then Moselle picked up Brett in his first move, and dropped Texas.
Jesus.
Thank the Lord he did. If he didn't, it would have been
disastrous.
We may as well have just restarted the year at that point.
If we would have let Eric get Brett again, that would have been disastrous.
We would have said see ya. And then the Tacos signed Cold Eared Off and released Josh Smits, which. Good for them because I don't think Josh Smits was going to play another game with the Tacos.
He's playing this week.
Is he?
Yeah.
Good for Josh. Good for Josh. That's
and going down. So it's kind of important to kind of go down this order too. Though is like the Sliders signed Brett, then the Sluggers signed Brian Travis off of the Sluggers roster, and then they dropped Tony Lucido. Now, obviously, they weren't going to get that squad back together.
Yeah.
Or, it's going to be hard to... I think Eric's looking into the future, trying to make sure he gets somebody in there soon to be that fourth that he can play every week.
Yep.
And now he has flexibility to do that. And somebody else is coming back for him this week. We'll talk about that later, too.
Yeah.
Some collusion nonsense always. So then Tony then goes back to the Maniacs. The Maniacs drop Cam in a corresponding move.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, Melonheads didn't do anything. Liners didn't do anything.
We can't do anything.
Correct. The Porkers signed Matt Schweisler, I think is how you say that
Chrysler?
name. So
Schweitzer.
He was the one that was on the Riot that we just talked about.
That Tim was trying to keep all hush-hush.
Yep. No, you can't keep a $43 player hush-hush.
Correct.
So, and fun fact, Ian was there watching him on Wednesday night when he wasn't playing. So kind of give him a
smart guy.
Look. Yeah.
It's a smart owner.
Dropped Owen Winters. He's injured right now, so it worked out really well for him.
Yep.
Barnstormers didn't do anything. The Riot, very shockingly, did not do anything.
It's wild.
Which then led to my biggest move. Cam Verlan is now a Narwhal.
Yeah.
And Mills is dropped to the Kermit for the time being.
Right. Which is a smart
Getting a $40 player last year, potential 3 first-round talents on my team.
Yeah, that helps.
So
it helps a lot.
Very excited. The Tacos then, yes, as you said, picked up Cole Deardoff. Flamingos picked up Rob Warren. So
I'm speechless.
The $32 Rob Warren. And then, yeah, I mean, you know what, though? He provides some consistency, I think. Because if you're putting...
Yeah.
He took the place of Quinn's salary, so
Yeah.
he still has flexibility if Rob doesn't do well to drop him.
Right.
But at least you kind of know what you're going to get consistent play out of Rob, and you're going to get heart. Micah Hescott is not that. This dude was swinging at the ball before it got there, like 10 seconds before it got there. This guy just looking like he's not trying.
Yeah.
He's like trying to be bad.
Yeah, Quinn left Grant a really tough position. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And yeah.
Yeah, and so then the Badgers did not do anything also.
I don't think the Badgers will at this point. I think
Bo is still on the Badgers.
He has to at some point get rid of Bo, but I don't think that's a priority for him in the near future.
Well, yeah, he's on the Kermit, so he's still 0 for however long.
It's kind of disappointing in a way just because Bo's not going to play for anyone but Jared, which is kind of...
Yeah, that's one of those things that like you haven't asked him, but
but in the back of your head he knows. So I don't
know that, yeah, which sucks because I'm feeling like somebody just needs to sign him just to make sure that Jared doesn't get to keep using him
for $0. So
but,
I mean, it is what it is. So they have a good relationship and they're a good team. So
I think that was it for in terms of signings, correct? In terms of like big.
I signed Brandon Terry to my Kermit.
I saw that.
So
BLT.
We'll see if we'll get him out, but no, we'll save that for the predictions because I've got something pretty excited. So
yeah, Andrew Thomas and Quinn were picked up and dropped off a lot in this round 2 for Kermit. A lot of Kermit droppings.
Yeah.
And also Quinn was dropped in GBL today. So
yeah, we'll see ya.
Ryan, so I asked on Twitter at Going Corn, LWA, I said, with week 2 in the books and new players on teams, what are your thoughts? #shakeup.
Yeah.
Ryan Vogus says, Narwhals are stacked. Pressure's on Greg now to capitalize. Yikes.
It's true.
Kevin Drew says, how does Tim keep Austin Warner on his roster and leave Cam available for Greg?
Probably the best question of the week.
That's a great question, Kevin. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I don't know what he's probably just really pissed off and he wanted to keep some of that salary open for something.
But what would he have to keep it open for? He could drop Cam at any time.
Yeah, I know. Or Tapper, he still has that. He hasn't played a game. Where is he? So I don't know.
I'm very confused by that decision.
Do the Youngman brothers have any love left to give? Asked Sam Stahl. No. I am Garvalia asks, are we witnessing the fall of the Leroy Riot just after 2 weeks?
I mean, if you look at their roster, I don't see many signs of hope there. So, I mean, and will 4 wins be enough to keep him out of the death bracket? I mean,
no.
He's played the Flamingos and Tacos.
He's played a fluff kind of first
to start the week. So I mean, there is you look at the rest of the league.
And one of my Kermit players gave him a little heads up in the chat that he's going to be back in 2 weeks when we play the Riot. So it's going to be fun.
Uh-oh.
Mr. Other Texas himself.
We'll see ya.
So, and then King Cranks at Real Tyler Walk. Which of the 0-4 teams will finish last? Tacos, Flamingos, or Sliders? That is the Tacos. Now that's a good question.
No, it's the Tacos. Unless he
Shout
gets
out
Rad
to
or
Orville.
Buzz to come out.
Yeah, no.
And that percentage chance is about as likely as any of us getting an invite to the lake house.
It's kind of a roller coaster right now.
No, it's not. That would admit things are going up. Rat and Buzz aren't going to show up. He needs to bail ship. He needs to be anybody is tradable in his roster.
Yeah.
So
he should have tried. The only thing that really sucks what got him screwed is now his waiver position.
Yeah.
He really should have just took the waiver position and just kept
And
up
just
there,
kept it, yeah,
you know.
and stayed. That would have
Cole, hopefully Cole brings a little more stability. He's a, middle tier player, new player. Hopefully he can.
Yeah, but he was being pushed playing with one of his best friends. I mean, he's going to ask to be a star on the worst team in the league in his first year, so we'll see. I hope he does well. I'm not saying he's not going to do well, but there's a lot of question marks.
Correct.
So
that's going to do it for the first half of the show. Just a quick recap. It's been about 60 minutes. Not bad.
No.
But we're going to come back. We're going to preview week 2. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things to look forward to. And we're back on the other side of Going Corn to preview week number 3. So first matchup we have is the Badgers, 3-1, versus the Maniacs, which are 1-3. The lineups this week for the Badgers are going to be Ryan Vogus, Jared, Jake Van Vuren, and Bo Hofstra, with Kubaki still on the DL. Rest in peace, Kubaki. And then the Maniacs rolling out their new lineup with Kevin, Tony Lucido, Tyler Van Kuiken, and Luke Balish. Thoughts?
The Badgers are good. I mean, Jared's pitching a little bit better this year, and Jake threw really well. Bo's got a good enough bat to carry the fact that he's throwing at about like 10% of his arm capability. I don't mind the Maniacs team. Tony's a much-needed boost, but, I mean, Tyler struggles to have the power and pop and then the solid arm, and Luke is such an unknown at $16. I think the Maniacs are going to struggle with the fact that the Badgers are playing so confidently. Jared is having finally a start to the year that we've been waiting for probably the past 5 years. So he's playing at $44, and this is another chance for him to get higher. His batting is $68. So, I mean, I have a Badgers sweep here. I don't think there'll be blowouts, but if the wind's blowing out, it could be ugly for the Maniacs.
Yeah, yeah, I have to agree. I'm hating to agree on this one, but yeah, I think the Badgers just are gonna take advantage of those bottom two. Like you said, Tyler doesn't have kind of the arm to overpower Ryan and Jared, especially. He kind of just throws that straight fastball still, and so yeah, they can take advantage of that. Plus, that's a really good hitting team with Bo in there, and so they're taking advantage of that. Kevin and Tony will do their job, but is it going to generate enough to? And I agree, I don't think there'll be high scoring games if you're just giving them a normal situation. So yeah, so you can go ahead.
Yep.
So we both have sweep.
Yep. Liners, Narhwals, grudge match between the hosts. I'm rolling out a lineup of me, James, Sam Stahl, and rookie, never played before, Mark Richards, and we'll talk a little bit about that. The Narwhals are rolling out Kyle Schaff, Cam, Dave B, and Greg. So I went first. You go first here.
Okay, so tough matchup. I think we're catching, hopefully, the right time.
Yeah,
catching the liners at the right time. Not everyone's in swing yet. In terms of Caleb, not full midseason hit 12 home runs in a week form yet. Hoping that
I haven't had the win too.
Correct. And we're still going to continue to fuck you tomorrow, too. On the wind.
You better hope.
No, I think it'll be a good matchup. Mark's a big wild card. MVP of the AL in Orville last year. He was just the runaway candidate. There's no one any better than him last year. I'm sorry, Mark. Mark, if you listen,
No, you're not. You want to get into horrible politics talk at the end of this? I'd love to.
No, we have to bring out a lot of alcohol for that.
At Twin Branch Billy Goats.
So
okay,
I already told Mark we had a little preview with him. We had a little scrimmage with him on Saturday. I already told him no knuckleballs after 5 pitches.
No, he's throwing that dirt. He's throwing that dirty nasty.
No.
If Dave's going to throw 5 pitches within 3 seconds, Mark is going to throw a knuckleball
this year. He's only done it to
no,
one person.
I know. I'm messing around. He's done a much better job, although I did see him about end Matt Dykstra's life with a peg as he was running to first last week. I did see that.
He has not pegged anyone this year, though.
He
tagged him.
No, he threw it at him.
No.
Yes, he did. Dave, I know you're going to listen to every second of this. I will put $50 down that you beamed
I swear
Matt.
he didn't.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. As Matt was running to first base, he was in right field.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember what you're talking about now.
It was aggressive.
I don't think he hit him that hard, though. Anyway.
Greg, is that a conspiracy?
Hush. Now, looking at, the top of my lineup, I'm hoping the pitching can go well the first couple innings, keep runners off base, and I think that'll be the key to the game. I say split here. I believe in my team this year. We just have a real tough schedule here to begin the year. So I think we'll play hard and hopefully pull out one of these games. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I also have a split. I think my team's just hard to beat in any game where I pitch 2 innings. So
correct.
If, the way I view it, if we can win that game, and then against good teams, that's kind of my philosophy. The first half of the year is if we can win the game, I throw 2 innings, and then if we win the second, that's a cherry on top. I just think you guys have too much in terms of hitting to be able to offset what we try and do. If the wind's blowing in, I think it's advantage us. I think then we have a better chance to sweep. If the wind's blowing out, I think you have more hitters that could do damage to our pitching. So again, there's a lot of factors that go into play. I do think the X factor in this series is Mark. We don't know what he's going to do.
Correct.
I mean,
yeah.
if he,
because you know what you're going to get from everyone in this lineup. Like
on
you know what
both
James
teams.
is going to
On
give you.
both
You know what
teams.
Sam's going to. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So what's Mark going to do? I mean, is he going to be the MVP caliber batter that he is?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, he's got the talent.
You
to
got to
hit.
avoid slow counts to him.
Yep.
I know it's different, and it is very different from Orville because the timing is
much different.
Yes,
correct.
But we'll see how he adjusts. I mean, he's a good player, so I mean, we can't take him lightly. I'm not going to tell these guys like oh, well, this guy's never played.
Yeah.
I think the pitching is obviously going to be the biggest thing.
Yep.
You never know with Orville what you're going to get, like in terms of players coming over, because
Sure.
Austin Williams and Wes Ellis have been the only two that have been able to throw
well
hard
and doing it quickly. I think him being a lefty could.
So many people have struggled from Orville.
Yeah. I think him being a lefty, he could potentially do some things. I don't expect him to be an ace right away.
No.
But I think with him, I thought about putting him third, but I intentionally put him fourth to hit on in front of me because I think the bat will translate, and if he can get on in front of me, the only person honestly in this line in the pitching, I think Kyle's really the only guy that I think I can struggle seeing. I think Cam and Dave, even if they're on the zone, I can square up on fast pitch. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of your team has advantages, my team has advantages. I also have a split. I think that's a fair assumption with both teams able to sweep depending on different factors.
This is the first time that I've had a good team, so it's like I'm finally comfortable saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we both have good teams this year, so I think we'll do well. So we're going to look at the Porkers and the Flamingos matchup.
Yep.
The 3-1 Porkers and the 0-4 Flamingos. They're going to roll out a lineup of Ian Garvelia, Mason Kopach?
Yeah, I don't know.
Al Friedman and Matt Schwitzler. Right?
Schweitzer?
Right. Sorry.
I don't know.
Sorry, bud, if you listen to this. Sorry. And then the Flamingos rolling out Vince Carullo, Rob Warren, Luke Hilligans, and Grant Reinhout. Not a bad lineup. I think more respectable than with Mike, as I said earlier.
I'm confused why Ian has Matt fourth. And
it goes back to that pitching point I think I mentioned. His pitching is not good. He gave up a lot of... Well, I guess he's the
second best pitcher on the team. He's a better pitcher statistically than Ian.
He has a 15 ERA and a 3.8 whip. So he's not. Ian is a 6 ERA right now and a 1.6.
Ian's pitching rating is 29.40. Matt's pitching rating is 29.70.
I know, but I'm just looking at those other numbers though too. Like, so
well, I know he's not a worse pitcher than
strikeout.
Al.
Technically, he is. One less game, or two less games. But yeah, with the 15.6 ERA and the almost 4 hits per inning, I think that's kind of why. But I don't think it does take away a couple of at bats, but I don't think you pretty much have everyone get an at bat each inning, right? Almost, unless you're facing like
not
Vince.
with
in this matchup. Facing
I disagree.
Vince,
so you've got Ian hitting first. The problem, so his strength is obviously his bat. You look at any of the bats in the lineup, you're assuming that Mason and Al are going to get hits and get on base to get him up in the order.
Yeah.
They're 19.42 statistically hitting, and Al is $6. 6 points hitting. To me,
the
even
back-to-back, though, of Matt and Ian, I think, is kind of maybe why he did that.
I don't think I disagree with it. Matt should be second. And if he gives up a few runs, he gives up a few runs. He has 8 homers, 16 RBI. I mean, for crying out loud, he's got more. He's got 4 times the RBI of the rest of the team combined.
Correct. Yeah. So I agree with your assessment. That's just my thought. I think why he was doing it,
and we still have Tim refuses to spell Ian's name right. Gavilaria. Come on. So the Flamingos. I mean, Vince has actually been playing better this year, but it's kind of been drowned out by what's been going on around him. Rob,
520 average, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs.
Yeah, he's been doing well. Rob's just going to need Luke and Grant to field for him. Yeah. And Grant and Luke have to be able to hit the board. I mean,
I feel bad for Grant. I feel like he's not ever progressed well enough to kind of like stay in his salary is $14 right now.
Yeah.
He needs to be up in the 20s if he wants his team to be successful.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where I'm at. I need to be in that 20s to be a successful for my team to be, winning games. And so I think, especially given the makeup, like you said, there's only one stud on this team. There's no number 2.
Yeah.
You have a couple number 3s and a number 4.
Yep.
So I'm going to have to say Porker sweep here.
That's what I had too. I have a Porker sweep.
I think a lot of this is going to be pretty chalk for what you're thinking.
Well, the pitching is just not good for the Flamingos. So
and if Matt and Al are bad and the Flamingos take advantage of that, that's kind of what they did against the Riot in those last innings. They took advantage of those.
The hitting is also
pitchers.
bad for the Flamingos.
But they almost came back, though, in that series is what I'm saying, against the Riot. And they scored 9 runs in one game and then like 13 in another. So
that's true.
They can. Luke is not bad. 313, 1 home run. Rob's batting .400. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. If Al's really bad and giving up, singles and doubles, just like those 10-pitch, 15-pitch singles and doubles, that could be an issue for them. But that's the only way I see the Flamingos squeezing out a game. So
yeah, okay.
Go ahead, next series.
Melonheads. Game 1, they're going to go with Jeff, Chandler, Matt, and John. Game 2, they're going with Jeff, Garrett, Matt, and John. And then the Sliders roll out a lineup of Robbie, Jack, Hilligans for his first week.
Who?
Zach Turpin and Jordan Moselle. I struggle because the Melonheads I thought were going to be better than what they are or they have been. I've expected a lot more from Jeff that they haven't gotten. Matt's been doing really well. He's been a pleasant surprise, but they've faced some tough teams to start the year. I mean, they ran into a good Narhwals squad and a good Barnstormer squad, but it just seems like they do enough. They're the 2019 Cubs. They do enough, but they just can't string it together when it matters to be able to get the job done.
Yeah,
and they've struck the big problem. They can hit with anybody.
Absolutely,
they just can't pitch.
Correct.
I mean,
and
ERAs.
He was not throwing very well. I mean, granted, wind blowing out has a factor, but a 16 ERA.
Yeah. I mean, they've got
do it.
The Melonheads have 3 guys hitting above a 35 rating for batting and 1 guy above $30. They only have 1 person above $30 pitching, and that's Garrett, and everyone else is hanging around the $21, $22 range. I mean, we're talking about you know.
And Matt gave up a lot of 2-out runs last week.
Yeah.
Tell you though, don't piss off Matt, because he'll find his fucking corn bombers days.
Yeah.
He fucking struck me out on 3 pitches that I had not seen for 3 years, Caleb.
He'll be zooming.
I'm not kidding you.
Tony Cook zooming.
You know what
Banging
I'm
him.
talking about.
Yeah, I
Matt
do.
throwing the fucking slider, right on the edge of the zone. I'm like, all right.
It's because he finally got a ball of scuff balls, or a bucket of scuff balls. That's why he could do that.
That was the best, going back to those days when he would just dig through the bucket for those scuff balls.
We're sitting there like, what the heck? Literal the worst.
So, yeah, Jack Hilligans. Who's this now? I mean, I guess it's kind of working out. I mean,
is it though? I mean, they're 0-4.
0-4, but I mean, he's gotten the players there. What do we talk about at the beginning of the season? I said there's no one on that roster that's confirmed to come, and then all of a sudden everybody's changing their mind. So,
well,
Robbie's
the problem
coming
is
2 weeks in a row.
The problem is Jordan, in terms of ranking, is their best player.
Correct.
So maybe not in terms of salary, but in terms of ranking.
And he's their 4 this week, so
I don't know.
This is a tough one to call.
It isn't to me. I think the Melonheads come out with a chip on their shoulder. They're what, 1-4?
1-3.
1-3. They've had 2 tough teams. I don't think the Sliders will be as good as either of the 2 teams they've previously played. If the wind's blowing out, it's going to be a shitstorm for the Sliders coming, and they'll be 0-6. We may disagree on this one. I have a Melonhead sweep. I think they get off the schneid and they sweep this week.
Yeah, it's tough for me to pick against them. I just played them. I know their hitting prowess, and also I think we kind of bailed out Chandler. That's going to be my only thing is I'm worried about that game. If Chandler's not doing that well, John throws pretty well for a new person, John Lytle. He only
he's
played
not
a few
new.
games. He played a few games last year, and then he throws a knuckleball.
Yeah,
he's one of those guys. So
who do you have?
This is gonna be our difference here. I'm gonna say split.
Okay.
I think Sliders. I think Jack finds a way to impact the game, and maybe Robbie has one good game. The first game is good for him pitching wise. He doesn't give up a punch. So that's kind of what I'm going with. So
all
right. So is it my turn here?
Yeah, but this would just be a waste of our time to analyze. So let's just say what we're all thinking and move on.
Sluggers sweep over
Thank you.
Tacos.
I mean, until Tyler puts together a team that's
some people.
I mean, it's not awful, but
he needs a big gun.
He needs something.
He needs a big gun.
I mean, Cole, I don't even know why I apologize because it's the right take to make. I'm not apologizing. Cole's a 3. If he's listening to this, he's not.
He's a $30 player.
He's
a 3. That's a 3.
I mean, so, and he's your best player. Josh is just disinterested. He doesn't. He's disinterested.
Yeah.
So I mean, and
he's out after I think this week.
and Mike Burritos doesn't know what's Mike Carnitas.
Oh, poor T-Walk.
We got James Hayworth in the basement with us tonight. Is it Mike Burritos or Mike Carnitas or
who is the question? That is the question and the answer.
Who?
All right. Well, we'll just go to the last matchup.
Slugger sweep.
2 4-0 teams. Wait, is this the last one? Yeah.
2
4-0 teams. The Barnstormers versus the Leroy Riot. The Barnstormers have Gags, Matt Kuna, Jim Tucker, and Justin Deckinga out there again.
Be noble, Matt.
And the Riot will have Tim Wilcher, Marty, Elijah, and Joel Binky Barnes. Berkey?
Joel Melf.
Berkey. Joel
Melf is coming back.
Kuna is back for the Barnstormers. They decided to waste the bullet here on this game. I think they just wanted to kind of assert their dominance and try and go 6-0 against a team that's probably going to struggle a little bit this week. I mean, Elijah played well last week for him, for the Riot. Marty's been playing pretty well, obviously.
Yep.
He's been shutting out the haters like Caleb. And Tim is somehow still $40.
I mean,
they have played the two. Yes.
Shutting out the haters would mean beating somebody that's...
Well, they'll get a test this week, so we'll see if Tim's, going to be talking smack here for another couple weeks, or he's going to be eating his words, which will never happen. But
this is a barnstormer sweep.
Absolutely.
I've never heard of Joel Berkey. I don't know who this person is. Tim's arm.
I think he's
Tim's arm is another 100 pitches away from needing to have a reconstructive shoulder surgery.
Well, that's how Tim is, He the first couple weeks.
It's
the first couple weeks he's always like decent, and then his arm just. So
I don't know. I don't foresee the Riot carrying through this one very strongly. So I've got a barnstormer sweep.
Sounds good. So that's our matchups. So to recap, we would have the Badgers sweep,
mm-hmm.
the Liners Narwhals split, Porkers sweep over the Flamingos, the Melonheads. He had a sweep for the Melonheads. I had a split, and then we had the Tacos getting swept by the Sluggers, and the Riot losing their first two games, getting swept by the Barnstormers. So, big interesting week to see how this is all going to work out.
It's a big week for wiffle ball. We've got Leroy Wednesday. We've got opening day for Orable on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday, we go to Circle City, and I get to face the infamous Mike Speak Jr. in a Noodlers 8 Balls matchup. A lot of hype. Me and Jimmy Hay going to bring the fire to CCW on a board that's the height of my penis.
So it's about 1 inch?
I said height, not length. Height.
Correct.
Height.
So, big week of wiffle ball. What do you think of the Orable podcast? Good work by those guys.
Oh, Brandon and Mark have done a great job. I've loved the content they've put out. I think
go listen to them if you're looking for another little Orable pod. They give a lot of good information, even if you don't know anything about Orable.
Yeah, and if you're bored of seeing moms argue on Facebook, you can pretty much go to any National League Orable team's Twitter, and then you can get the same content there.
So, any other thoughts or anything before we get going on Week 3 of Leroy?
No. I'm excited to see what happens on the waiver wire.
Yeah, a couple other free agents should be coming off the board. Kuna will be there, so we'll see. We'll kind of recap that next week too and figure out new teams and what they're going to look like. So yeah, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
See if Bo gets picked up, see, how all that happens, but we'll see. So, for Caleb, for myself, this has been Going Corn.
See ya.